Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. Hi. If you adjust your volumes, you might be able to hear some little kitty cats behind me down there. Can you see them? We're at a place that I've spent much time here before, but I ain't been here in a long time. Oh yeah, who remembers this place? Right, this island. We did a lot of this in live streams actually, where we went around and removed grass across the entirety of the island. And then we actually ended up placing down logs on top of our grass to spawn parrots. And these parrots may or may not be affecting the efficiency of this new farm over here. This is built by Tango. There's a couple of parrots hanging out underneath. They want to get in the farm. They want to check it out. They're just like me. They're eager to find out what's going on here, peeps. Oh, yeah, so before Christmas, Tango was working on a passive mob farm for ocelots, and he was looking for a location on Hermitcraft, and great minds think alike, right? He picked out this location as well, came over here, and then saw that it had already been converted, and that all of the grass had been removed, and it was the ideal spot, and he got in touch with me and say, hey, did you do this? And I was like, yep, that's my little project for spawning parrots on logs, because they can spawn on logs, peeps. You learned something today if you didn't know. And I said I was more than happy for Tango to take this project over and to build something with it. And this was all done before Christmas. It was actually a Christmas gift for Good Times with Sky. Now, if we land on this bit right here, what we should see somewhere around here, I believe, is chickens. That's right. Yes, the chickens lure the ocelots into the water streams, right? They're out here. Just pretend that I'm an ocelot. I see that chicken. I go for it. I get sucked in the water stream and taken all the way to the top up there. This is an interesting looking cat elevator right there. Cat elevator in Minecraft. That's now an actual thing. And so there are, what was it, 4 different platforms of this? Looks like about 4 or 5. And the ocelots spawn on there when you're standing up the top. They get lured into the middle and it brings all the ocelots to the top. Apparently it has a rate of about 200 per hour, which is the same as the mob cap. And a little bit of information for you. Ocelots actually spawn from the hostile mob cap. So I couldn't help but feel it had something to do with that, but I could be misinformed. And anyway, if you need a cat on this server, then this is the place to go to. There's a clever little exit there because we are actually going to go back through the portal. We're going to be working in the gaming district today, and I've got something amazing that I want to build over there. It's not a game, it's just something fun that the other hermits can play with. The boots, the mysterious boots. I have probably commented on this some time ago when we were working on our Nether tunnel, because these boots popped up in the middle of them, and I didn't know what they were about. Now, the arrows obviously tell you what direction to go in, right? If I follow these, they will lead me all the way to the ocelot farm. So in heading over there, I saw the boots and I was like, oh, I finally know what these are about, right? Anyway, you might be thinking, hang on a second, Xisumo, what is going on in this room? You're correct, something has changed. Oh, something has changed, hasn't it? Check that out. That is bedrock across the entire ceiling. So a group of us the other day were just hanging out on the server, and we decided that we'd come into here, into the nether hub, and we would start working on the ceiling because it's been flat for the longest time now, and you can kind of see where it was flat before. You see this cutoff point? Everything there was just flat netherrack going up to the top. So we decided that we wanted to come in here, get this thing being towards finished, and we decided to do that by removing all of the netherrack so you could see the bedrock at the very top. And then I came in and I added this little curve around the side here. It's not finished, obviously. It goes up by 3 blocks, comes out again, another 3, 2, and 1 and 1. And if you're wondering why there's string under all of it, it's because these are gravity blocks, of course. It is red concrete powder. But that's the design. And at some point, I've got to get in here and I've got to extend that around the entire outside, right? And then there'll also be a little bit of work needed on these portals because, as you can see, the cutoff point at the top is a little bit funky. But it's all work to be done, and this place will end up looking amazing when it is finished. If it doesn't look amazing already, though, right, I mean, check out the big portal in the middle. Oh, yeah, Scar said that he was going to extend this bridge all the way over to the other side, because if you come through that portal there, you've then got to walk all the way around the outside just to get to the middle one, which is a little bit crazy. So expect to see some more changes in here. But anyway, as I already said, we're going to be heading over to the gaming district once again. I believe that absolutely nothing has changed since we were last here. And I know that things are going to be changing. Wells is going to be working on this little ice course going around here very soon. Might have to team up with him and help him gather some packed ice, as he's going to need a lot of it for his game. And also Zedaf has been in the area, and he commented on how I have successfully brought his vision to life. He was very pleased with the way that I've designed these games here and that I've themed the area. And the feedback from all of you has been tremendous as well, so thank you. We are going to be taking some of your ideas and suggestions today and putting them to use. But first of all, I have an idea of my own that I really want to implement. And the place that we're going to implement it is just around the back here. I actually want to tuck this out of the way as it's going to take up a fair amount of space, and I don't want to put it in an area where there's probably going to be games popping up and stuff. So Python has finished our Boat Bros game over here, so this area just across here is absolutely perfect for building. I've lied to you people. I said that absolutely nothing had changed in this area, and then I remembered after I hit the render button on the last video, I then noticed that I forgot to fill in this area over here, so I put down some brown wool and brown powder to kind of remind myself that's the colour that's going to go in that area. Very insignificant, but Asuma must point these things out. You must know about every little thing that I've been up to. And speaking of all the little things I'm getting up to, let's talk about this path right here, as it used to go a little bit higher at this point, and I was extending the path around the corner and it was above this tent, and it felt really weird to sort of drop down onto the tent, right? But it's kind of equally as weird that you can hop up onto it, and even a part of it overlaps this path. But it definitely feels better down here. And what we're going to do is move ZF's little duck hunt game over here. As you can see, the path is going to go straight through it, which is unfortunate, but it's also kind of in the way of the lava game over here as well. And so by moving it around to the corner, we're going to use it to help us divide up the colours again, because we're going to extend the green that is in front of this tent around the side. I think it's going to look good being on all sides, but at some point we want that to end, and so we're going to use this thing as a prop to start another colour scheme over in this area where we are going to be building our game, right? So I'm going to move this. I've been recreating it block for block. The signs are in place, the torches, the floor is slightly different. This thing had a mycelium floor, which we are going to change, and now we just need to move the books across that are in here and all of these armor stands and pieces of armor. And I am reminded that my inventory is very full, so we'll have to do this one thing at a time here. So the transition from one area to another is nicer now. We've got the orange filled in over there. We've got the green coming around the side here. And I think this yellow is probably going to remove. This is now part of this section, and I don't know what colour that's going to be, but I want to break it up from the green and keep, you know, some variety going around. And it's going to come across into this area. Let's have a look at that green bit over here again. This kind of cuts that bit off, and I think what we're going to do is take the grass and extend it through this space and possibly have a very grassy area over here. I know we'll be using green again, but it will complement the look of the Boat Bros game, as we've seen lots of grass around that already. And I was thinking, around what we're going to build, maybe lots of flowers and grass would be really quite nice, as we, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be building a keyboard, a piano-style keyboard, and I'm looking forward to this because I'm a musical being. I enjoy my music, and I haven't done a project like this before. I've been thinking about the movie Big with Tom Hanks. I believe it's that movie where they have a giant keyboard in a shop, and Tom and his friend like play the chopsticks on it, I think, or something like that. And I want to rebuild that here in Minecraft, and it is going to be a pretty simple job. We've got to start off with a keyboard, and the way I was thinking that we would do this, let's just put some blocks there temporarily, is by having some blocks like this in between each of the keys. So those represent the sharps or the flats, and then you have, I think, 3 like that, 2 flats, and then you'll have a double key, and then you have 3 of those again. This is going to be very big, like it's going to be very wide, and I think it's going to be 24 different keys in total, because that's how many different notes you can have in the note blocks. And so yes, there will be 3 keys like that, and then there will be a double white again. Now to activate these, there's many different ways that we could do this, and I was thinking about the iron pressure plates because they kind of match these keys right here. Then, you know, we don't have anything that's black that's also a pressure plate, so maybe what we end up doing is changing the keys to a different colour from black, so it makes it a little bit more novelty, but it means that, you know, we'd have golden keys, but they would match this right here. So then we can go ahead and put in our note blocks. In fact, I'm going to put ice below them. It's ice, right, that makes a new sound thanks to one of the recent updates. So if we stand on here, oh, I like that one a lot. Now, obviously, it's the same note at the moment, so if we do that, and do you know what I should do? I should go into my options, sounds, music and sounds. Oh, it's already on 100%. Well, that was smart of me. But anyway, and the notes go up. Magic. I'm going to have so much fun when this thing is finished. Peeps, I'm literally just walking back and forth on this. Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, I actually don't want to go ahead with this whole having yellow keys things. I think we want to try and keep the keyboard look as best we can. So we need to investigate other ways of doing this, right? And one way would be with an observer and some string. So if we go and place... Oh, let's see. We're going to need a few blocks here. Then we'll need our observers to face in a particular direction, like so. And then if we put string in front of it, it will be able to detect us going in front of it and then backing away again. So this time, let's use some bone blocks behind here. And let's put in some more note blocks. And now when we stand on the string, we hear the note. But also, when we back off as well. And you can see it's activating two at once. Does note blocks do... Sorry, I'm using the wrong words. Do note blocks get activated through another block? So if we power this one, will the note block then get powered? Because we could avoid that problem. And I'll also go like that. So, aha, we're just powering one now. Now, does this sound like you're hearing too many notes? That is because we are detecting both the player going on the string and off of it as well. You see? It's not the same with a pressure plate, because a pressure plate is going to give power to the block when we stand on it, and when we stand off of it, it's going to remove that power. So there's like no event, whereas this is creating a pulse on the input and the output. So what we need to do is either come up with something different or create a T flip-flop. Alrighty, what about this? Tripwire hooks. Ooh. Now that is wonderful, but it comes with a downside, and that is if you want to skip a note, you can't really. I mean, unless we cleverly position these. No, not even then, we're still sort of activating the string, right? And then you've got blocks at this height, kind of disrupting the flow of walking on and off the keyboard as well. So with the pressure plates and the string, you walk up to when you want to play the note, whereas this one, you can only sort of ever go like this. And you know what? You know, the hermits are going to come on here and just have a bit of fun with it, you know? It's not going to be anything too crazy. So this next idea that I've got, I think, is probably the best for what I want to achieve, but if we think about how people are going to use this, it's going to be very novelty. No one's going to be composing a song. They're going to come over here, run around for a couple of minutes, and then they're going to go off again, right? So let me show you the other idea on how we could get this done. So what you're looking at right here is basically a T flip-flop, and I have forgotten the key ingredient, which is a comparator. We need the comparator to detect the items going through the hoppers, and then we use that redstone signal to activate the note blocks. The way I'm building it at the moment, though, there's going to be a problem that's kind of obvious, but I like to show you how these things get figured out, right? So each one of these needs an item. We're going to give them a piece of redstone. We've got the observer block behind us with the string, so we can send that 2-pulse signal through, right? And then what will happen is this thing will basically convert it into one thing, right? You heard a sound? And that's all you heard. It also looked like it activated 3 at once. Maybe I kind of stood on 2 of the strings. Well, there you go. It activated that one over there. That's quite a ways away. So the problem is it's activating them side by side. So what we then need to do is move these ones out, and then it will work normally, okay? So if I go stand here now, we activate just the one, and only once as well. And that's because it's a T flip-flop. So when it powers this, it shoots the item that's out there, although it's currently being stored down here. So I'm guessing it gets moved up, it shoots it out, and then it goes into the hopper, so this thing creates a signal, and then it goes back in here, but that second pulse doesn't affect it, which is important. In fact, I think it's the second pulse. Hang on a second. No, this is broken all of a sudden. I tested this quite a lot earlier, and it did not break, not even once. So what I'm doing right now, I did a lot of this, walking on and off of it, trying to break it best I could, and it always works, and it always works once. But in order for us to have them side by side, it means that they've got to be spaced out a little bit, okay? So the next set of droppers would have to be like this in order to not be powered by the block next to it. So that powers that block, meaning it powers the one here. And then that means that you've got to add an extra observer, right? Probably not a big deal, but then it means that there's a delay. So when you go on to this one right here, it's slightly longer, like a tick later, and it's actually quite noticeable when you run up and down the keyboard. You can kind of hear the delay. So then what you got to do is you've got to throw in some extra repeaters or comparators to sort of match up the delay. This thing becomes very big and complicated, and then what you end up with is, you know, you get your keyboard like this, but there's a delay of a few ticks in between each time you activate the string, and it's actually kind of annoying. It's not particularly great to have it so slow. So this was what I was aiming for. This is kind of like the ultimate thing, to have the string activate it, but it hasn't quite worked out, although my brain is starting to tick over with a couple more ideas. My brain is currently ticking over with all sorts of redstone ideas, but I don't particularly fancy doing some redstoning at the moment, as it can end up taking a lot of time. I think it's time for me to take a break from the computer. It's always good to get regular breaks, and that gives me an opportunity to think about the redstone before I actually try and do it, as I think I could end up spending a lot of time and not finding a solution. So the problem is that we're going to over-engineer and end up with a lot of delay on hearing the sounds as you step on the keys, if we want to keep the black keys, which is what I think is going to look best. Now, if we make a novelty keyboard like this, where we have golden keys, the solution is going to be so much simpler, right? But the question is, does this look that good? And I really don't think it does. I think if you picked a different color, maybe blue or red, the keys would really pop perhaps. But that right there, the golden color, I doesn't really scream keyboard at me, which is what I'm concerned about. So time for me to take a break and to scratch my noggin, see if we can come up with a solution. There are other things I want to build this episode, so should we spend ages stressing over redstone? No, we're just going to go with the white and gold keyboard. I've been laying down the grass, sorting out the look for this thing, and yeah, we're going to throw down some flowers, add pathways, stuff like that. But right now, I'm doing a boring job, which I probably shouldn't be doing on camera, but let me show you it. So these two notes are currently the same. So what we're going to do is put a marker here to let me know, and then I have to go and right-click each one of these individually. It is a highly boring little job, and it requires a lot of concentration, as there are 25 notes in total. If I mentioned it earlier, I was under the impression that it was 24, and that is sort of correct. Let's double check. Yep, good, we know where we are. There's actually 24 in total, but it starts at 0. At least that's how it's listed on the wiki. And I've got a feeling, a horrible feeling, I just double-clicked one of those. But I've been reading the wiki, and the sharp keys here are actually going to correspond to the correct notes as well, which is really, really cool. So somewhere around here, I think I double-clicked one. Nope, they seem to be all good. I love that sound, it's amazing! We got a working keyboard here on the server now. I think CubFan built one with daylight sensors where you can play a little melody quite easily because you can right click. Won't stop me from having fun. I've just added these little pathways here, kind of going up and onto this, and I don't think it looks as good. I think actually it's just nice if this thing sits in the middle of the grass and you can walk up to it of your own accord, right? So what we'll do is we'll just throw down a load of flowers, make this area look real nice and pretty, and finalize it, because I kind of want to move on to some other things now. So we've got a nice colour scheme going on in this area. We've got green, we've got teal, we've got the yellow, and then the yellow on the keyboard as well. This thing is reasonably lit up, considering that there are lights just in front of it and behind it as well. So that's all good. You can see the path wraps around here, waiting for the grass to grow. Going to come in here, throw down some more bone meal. Need to put in a few extra blocks over here. And as I was throwing down the bone meal, I decided just to keep the yellow flowers. Didn't feel like the red ones really fit in here, so it matches the keyboard, which is great. But now I'm looking for another colour, as what I want to do is put some inanimate objects, things that you are just going to walk past and look at and go, that's cool, and put them down the side here. And I think it's the perfect place to have stuff like this, because all you're doing in this area is walking back from Boat Bros, right, into the main area. So there'll be some things to look at. So we are going to widen this area here and throw down a colour again. And guess what colour I have chosen? It is on my hotbar. we're going to go with cyan again because it's going to complement that colour over there. And I gave a lot of thought to this. I looked at all the different colours. Yellow was another one, but it's kind of close to this one here. And the cyan will end up tailing back into this space. So the only other place we've used cyan so far is all the way over there. So it's kind of like at opposite corners, right? Which I think means it's a good one to do. So I've gathered up some gravel and sand. I've got a little bit of cyan dye left. We're going to craft that into powder and then fill up this space along here. It's time for a quick update. I have put in the stuffs, you know, that we were just talking about. Just grabbing some of these. I wanted to get a fence block that wasn't wooden and maybe felt a little bit more neutral. Now, as you can see, I've created a very rigid border here. And I'm not sure what's the best way to go with this whole thing. Should we shore up the edges and just make them into straight lines, or try and keep a little bit of chaos here? It's all to be figured out as time goes on. And also, these blocks right here I don't think are very nice. They're pretty much just a placeholder for the border. And there it is. But anyway, this strip has been done, and it does look a little bit plain and a bit odd, and that's because there's nothing in it at the moment. So the next thing I'm going to do is build some objects that are going to make this area far more interesting. So you may have remembered in the last episode that we were over here, I asked for you to put suggestions in the comments, to tweet me ideas for things that are like toys, you know. We want to give this area a playful vibe, and Stygian, whose name I probably butchered, it's not a name I'm familiar with, aka Lego Tomb, has tweeted me some really cool toys, and one of those was a train which I wanted to put into this world. So check it out. We got the little like plow thing at the front. It reminds me of a snow plow. We've got the engine right here. You can see the wheels. It's looking really, really cool. And I've tried to do this as close as I can to Lego Tomb's image. And there was also a little connector at the back there. Now this has got me thinking that maybe we can have several carriages just going down in a strip here, and that could be the theme for this thing. And I could save some of the other toys for another day. I'll scratch my head about it. But one thing's for sure, I reckon we should change this little bit right here, as this feels like a cabin. And I think the idea that Lego Tomb had was that it was like, I don't know, sort of like something being stored. Storage? Yeah, that would be the word. Storage on the back of here. But I feel like it should be the little conductor seat or whatever, you know, the person who drives the train. So we're going to add a few more details to this. I think maybe some ladders on the side might also look really cool. And then I'll probably end up building some carriages behind it with some other things in. But that's the first toy that's going to go in this area. Do you know what else will help here? Tracks. Tracks will really make it feel like it's at home, because of course the train sits on tracks. If you have any trouble at all trying to figure out what this is, I reckon those little markings there are going to give you a very big clue. So ladies and gentlemen, I need you to do me a favour. I need you to tweet me your ideas, okay? Because there's some amazing stuff over here. I want to say thank you to Sass9602 for these cute cuddly bears that are on my right hand side. They are resting nicely in these little carriages back here, and you can see that I've made a third one. So if you want to do a little bit of building, maybe make another cuddly bear, then tweet it at me and I'll build it over here and put it in the world. But check this out. We got a koala bear and we got a panda bear as well. And this thing at night doesn't look like it's got any ears, and it looks really strange. But it's like we're bringing the animals through, and it's so cool. They're cute and cuddly, and they really add to the like playful vibes over here. Now, as you can see, there's not much going on in the end area. I've got some ideas for other things that we could build up here, or maybe a hermit wants to come and build a game in this space. There is some prime space here for it, of course. It now links round to that. I think we've actually shown that. Yeah, so tweet me your ideas. Keep them coming, people. I'm really inspired to work on this area, and it's coming together ever so well. If you look up ahead, you can see this mycelium here. I'm thinking of ripping that out and just having a harsh line as the border of this thing. So it could go to this point, and then it could go all the way up there, leaving room for Wells's ice race, which is going to happen in this area very soon. But anyway, that is going to be it from me this episode of Hermitcraft. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like on the video. As always, thank you for your support, and I'll be seeing you in the next episode. Ciao for now. Bye bye.